In 2009, one of the most important mining projects undertaken in Peru in recent years started. A project whose long-term objective is the extraction of more than 1,500 million tons of mineral on a site located 4,500 meters above sea level. This project required a large-scale logistics operation to be implemented in a very complex zone in the highlands of Peru. This is our experience, an experience to tell. In 2009, MIQ Logistics and its strategic partners were awarded the contract and given the responsibility to provide end-to-end logistics services on this big mining project. 2 years before the logistics operation, an in-depth analysis of equipment's design and technical specifications was performed to identify limitations for transportation. An expert staff was in charge of studying carefully each material of the project, especially oversized load. After the study, an intensive analysis of infrastructure for transportation was undertaken. In a joint work with surveying, bridge and transportation engineers, ports, roads, bridges, roadways, curves, slopes and tunnels of different routes of load transportation were examined in the country of origin and Peru. This analysis covered every detail and characteristic of routes to establish restrictions and critical points, mainly on the Carretera Central of Peru, the only viable access highway to the project site. Along this highway, 15 critical points were identified, which included bridges, tunnels, and railroad crossings. Once this stage of analysis was completed, we started designing a holistic approach of our logistics solution. As a first step, the project infrastructure was prepared and set up. 13 bridges were reinforced, using different methods to support the weight of oversized load. Some of them were braced with metal supports, while others were reinforced with carbon fiber cloth. On the other hand, 19 rest areas were set up to manage traffic on the highway during the transportation of bigger and heavier equipment. Also, the operation required a checkpoint to be located at a strategic area. Therefore, an area at kilometer 47.5 of Carretera Central was chosen. This 11,500 meter square area marked the beginning of critical points of the highway. While works en route were performed, packing and setup of pieces were made in coordination with each supplier from the countries of origin, as well as the design of different special vehicles to transport them. To validate the solutions developed, live simulations of the load transporting were conducted along the route. This test would confirm the measures taken on the materials packed. At this point of this stage, it was time to plan the logistics solution. As a part of the planning stage, a general schedule of activities was prepared for a proper development of the operation. In relation to ports, shipping loading and unloading were planned in a thorough manner, mainly in the port of Callao, where its receipt and area limitations had to be considered. Also, a plan to progressively increase warehousing areas was established. This plan included the implementation of 22 air-conditioned tents to maintain some pieces requiring special care. Finally, an adequate general plan for transportation was established, taking into account scheduled assembly and startup on site, statistics of traffic, and weather conditions of the zone. In this sense, monthly, daily, and even hourly schedules were prepared in order to create the least social and environmental impact during the closing time of the highway. In addition, As a safety policy, oversized load could not be transported from December to March each year, as during this time, heavy rains fall in the zone. One of the tasks that required major planning and attention in this stage were the continuous evaluations and training provided to personnel in order to reinforce their knowledge in safety and environmental protection, which was specifically required throughout the operation. After the stages of analysis, design and planning, the execution of different scheduled activities began. The most important pieces of the project arrived from different parts of the world. The autoclave and the atmospheric flash vessel was shipped from the city of Shanghai, China. The starting point of the loading process was located in the Muramatsu plant, 50 kilometers from the Shanghai port, where they were manufactured. As part of the logistics solution for transportation to the port, both pieces had to be rotated to reduce their height and were transported to the port of Callao along with 7,000 cubic meters of metal structures and other equipment. Finally, the pieces were transported to the mine. This operation took 6 days from the port of Callao to the project site. On the other hand, the shells of the ball mill and sag mill were transported from the ports of Santos, Brazil and Vigo, Spain. Due to its dimensions, a special belly-up system that allows transporting them 2 by 2 had to be designed. The weight of loads in each truck in which they were transported was about 100 tons. Regarding the operations fleet, 54 machines were transported, for which special equipment had to be manufactured with loading capacity up to 80 tons and 15 meters length of useful deck. One of the most critical points of the highway during the transportation of almost all of the project's pieces was identified on kilometer 82, the Tambo de Viso Bridge, a rail crossing on a curve and a 4.75 meter height slope. To go through this way, we had to make an unprecedented coordination with the train company. As a result, the train traffic was cleared and the bridge was raised up to 20 centimeters to allow the passing of the highest load. The success of the logistics operation was due to the highly trained personnel who were assigned to different activities related to control documentation, customs, port, warehousing, roads, checkpoints, and mine, ensuring the total control and management of the operation to meet the objectives. And efficient logistics will always have a leading role in the success of every project. For the mining sector, logistics will involve a major challenge and require a very thorough planning. But if it is customized and meets each stage, it will not only contribute to direct and significant savings to the client, but also will ensure the efficient and effective management of any operation. And it will mainly end up always being a success story to tell.